Okay, in this video we will discuss theoretically what is AAA. Okay, we call them AAA: authentication, authorization, and accounting. Okay, so basically AAA is a centralized management where user try to access the network resources or the endpoint. When they try to access the network resources, okay, they have to use AAA. Also AAA, because AAA can be used as a radius protocol or it can be a TechX protocol. So we use AAA for two different purposes, okay? For network access and device administration purpose. So you can use this for different purpose. So it means if you enable AAA on your Cisco router, switches, firewall, and any other firewall as well, like Palo Alto firewall, FortiGate firewall, Checkpoint, Cisco SA, FTD. If you enable AAA, it means you want to protect their device. So whenever user try to log into their device, it will use AAA. So you can give them privileges like maybe support, maybe you want to give read only access, read write access. So when you use AAA protocol TechX, so then you can use for that purpose. But you can use AAA normally as a radius protocol. So whenever user try to log in, maybe through .1x, maybe through MAB authentication, maybe to web authentication, maybe to AZ Connect authentication, whatever the procedure is, when the user try to access the resources, they need to provide their username, their password, maybe any other credential. Then what resources they can access, and whatever they done, it will be audit, it will be accounting, it will be record. So this is called AAA because it providing you authentication as well, provide username and password, certificate, whatever the procedure is to prove your identity, then authorize what thing you can access, and then whatever you done, it will be recorded. So this is called AAA. I will explain you here from an example. Normally I give an example to my students about a debit card, either a credit card. So whenever you try to use your credit card or debit card, so the first thing first, when you go to ATM machine and you put your credit card, so they will ask you to put your PIN number. This is called authentication. Who are you? I will explain you one by one authentication authorization, but let me explain you overall what is 3A, AAA. So it means you need to put your PIN number to prove who are you. And if you know the PIN number, then you will access the rest of the thing. Then the second step is authorization. So when you correctly put your PIN number, then how much you can spend. And it depend on your credit card or debit card, how much money you have. Or maybe some country there is restriction how much money you can spend, either how much cash you can withdraw on the same time. This is also a limitation. But anyway, I would say overall, how much money you have, you can spend that much. This is authorization. Then whatever you spend the money, whereas maybe you buy a line on eBay, on Amazon, and you spend some money on store, whatever, end of the month you will get your bill and it will mention where you spend your money. It will mention the place, amount, time, etc., and maybe some reference number. So this is called accounting, the detail, whatever you done with your money. And authorization, how much you spend and how much you can spend. And authentication, either online bank, either through ATM machine, either whatever you need to identify yourself. You need to put your PIN number, your password, your username, whatever the procedure is. Maybe multi-authentication, maybe multi-factor authentication. You need to put those all details. This is AAA. Let me explain you one by one. The first thing is authentication. So authentication basically means who the user or the end device is. It means authentication involves validating an identity or the credential. So authentication is the process to validate an identity or the credential. It means authentication provides the answer for the question, who are you? Like here I told you, authentication means who are you? So you need to prove your identity. This is called authentication. It means check the user credential to verify their identity is called authentication. It means it is a process in which identity of a device or user is verified. Is called authentication. It means authentication is the process of proving identity to the system, to validation of identity or the credential. Like a user or computer has to prove their identity to the server or client is also called authentication. Login to the PC with username and password, it means you are authenticating, you are trying to authenticate. Keep in mind, authentication does not determine what task the individual or device or user whatever can do. No. Authentication just you need to put, and you just need to prove yourself. And you need to answer the question, who are you? You need to provide your detail. Authentication identify and verify who the person or system is. It means authentication is about who somebody or who some device endpoint is. And in Cisco ISE, we are mainly using many methods, but some of them is like a .1x. Through .1x, you need to provide certificate, either username and password or token. Through EAPOL, it will send to the Cisco switch, either any switch. And then switch will send them through radius to Cisco ISE, and ISE will check their credential with Active Directory. Normally I'm talking about. So this is one way of authentication in Cisco ISE. Another is MAB authentication. Maybe you don't have supplicant like a fax machine, maybe printers, maybe any other device where you cannot put and you cannot install supplicant. So then there is another authentication method is authentication bypass, make authentication bypass. You can use that too. Through MAC address you can prove your identity. Then there is another method of authentication in Cisco ISE is through web authentication. And there are many methods of web authentication. You need to put your credential through HTTP and HTTPS. It will go to switch. Switch will send them to ISE, and ISE will send them, and ISE will send them to Active Directory or whatever external identity store. To check if it is okay, then it will provide you access. The same case, if your MAC address is found, they will give in access. In the same case, if they found your certificate, either your username and password or token, so they will provide you access. So these are the different authentication method. And one of them authentication method is ISE Connect. It's almost like a MAB authentication, but it uses Active Directory username and password to get the detail of the system. It means this method is only if your device is already integrated and already joined the Active Directory. So we can use ISE Connect as well. Later in the course, we will cover all these practically: ISE Connect, Web Authentication, Web Authentication, and .1x. So these are the few authentication in Cisco ISE. And if I go to Cisco ISE, and if I go to policy and policy set, okay, so let me refresh them. Okay, so I can show you from there authentication. So this is called authentication. Okay, so I'm in policy set, and here is when you click, so this is authentication. We can use wire, we can use web authentication, we can use ISE Connect, and so many other method which I told you. So this is authentication. You can see authentication policy. Here we normally create our authentication policy to prove the endpoint either user identities. Next thing is authorization. So authorization basically means what user or device are allowed to do, and authorization is under authentication. When authentication is proved, then the next thing is here authorization. Like authorization implies, so here I mentioned that employee group has this authorization, what they can access in the network. Just give an example. So it means authorization provide the answer for the question, are you allowed to do this task? It means what you can do in the network, either what you can do in the device. Because there is another concept of, if you go to work center, so for device administration also there is a policy set, whereas also device administration, and there is also authentication and authorization concept. So it means authorization, what you can do in the device, either are you allowed to do this task. It can be in the network and it can be in the device. It means restrict the access to the user or endpoint is called authorization. And I give an example in credit card how much you can spend. So you can spend that much money which you have. You cannot spend more than that. So definitely this is your authorization. It means server determine, in our case Cisco ISE, permission to use resources or access file. This is also called authorization. It means authorization is the process of verifying access to something or resources. It means authorization is about what they are allowed to do inside the network or inside the device. Authorization is a function of specifying access right to the resources. It means this is rights, access right, what you can do in the network, either in the device, which function you can do. So you can restrict someone here. Suppose this is the device administration one. Here you have authentication, and when it's authenticate the device, then here you can create authorization policy. And here you can put them that if this the group name, what command they can run here. Here you have to put the commands inside the device, which command they can run. You need to create this profile. That's the separate link just to mention you. But if you are in the network, then here you can say what they can do in the network. You need to attach the profile, which thing they can do. Again, you need to create a profile. So it means authorization is the process to confirm what you are authorized to perform. What you are authorized to perform in the network, maybe you are not allowed to access the web server. but employee is allowed to access the web server. This is called authorization. Maybe guest is not allowed to access your resources. So this is authorization, what they can do and what they can do inside the network. And you can create authorization through dynamic VLAN, you can create ACL, you can create groups, you can create URL, you can reject them, you can accept them. And here we use those things. And we create these when you go to result, and here is authorization. We can create authorization profile here. And before authorization profile, we can create ACL, like a decals for employees. So employees allowed to permit any. And suppose I create last time contractor. So contractor is denied to these resources. And then we attach these to our profile. These are authorization, contractor and employees. And then we attach this decal here, and then we call these decal in our authorization policies, and here we call them. This is authorization employees and this is authorization contractor. So when contractor log in, they are not allowed, but when employees log into the network, so they are allowed to access each and everything. Just give an example. Why? Because we use decal, we use ACL, we use dynamic VLAN. You can put them in a specific VLAN. We can accept them, we can reject them, we can redirect them, we can give them web access. So many things you can do. So all these things is called authorization. Then the last thing related in AAA is accounting. So accounting basically means recording what end user and endpoint has done, and it means accounting provide the answer for the question, what did you do, what you have done, who is the responsible for this. So this is the answer of accounting. And it's very important, it keep record what a user done when they access the network. It means accounting occur after authentication and authorization is completed. Accounting allows administrator to collect information about user and device. Accounting command track command services and resources used by user or device. It means accounting is measure of resources consumed by a user and network device during their access. It means include amount of time, amount of data his user send and receive. It means it will keep record of each and everything, just like a bank statement. When you get your bank statement, it's mentioned where you spend your money. It keeps statistics, keep usage of information, resource utilization, billing, planning. You can use this accounting for many purposes, for troubleshooting purpose, for audit purpose, to trace someone, for so many other purposes you can use this accounting. And this accounting help both here and device administration authorization, and also here and network access authorization, both accounting. So whenever you do something, so there is Redis live logs, this is also coming under accounting. You can find out the detail here. Right now we don't have. Then there is TechX as well. If somebody log into the device, so there's logs. Also when you go to report section, this is also coming under accounting. It will show you the reports, whatever user access, either whatever administrator or any other person access the device. So those report you can find out here, like an audit, administrator login. These are the detail, a lot of detail, device administration related. They keep each and every record with timestamp. So you can use them for troubleshooting, you can use them for audit purpose, you can use them for billing purpose, for whatever, but it will keep the records. So all these report related to accounting. This is called accounting, and it's display each and everything. So record while access the specific device during specific time in the network. It means it will collect and store information about login and activity happen in the network. And I told you it will keep all the record here. This operation task is almost related to accounting. Logs, report, live logs related to TakeX, live log related to read-yes. So this is network access related. This is device administration related access. Both they will keep the records, and then you can generate report as well. Right now we don't have this as totally new one, so we don't have a lot of detail here, but you can find device administration. This is authentication summary and current active session and TakeX accounting, TakeX authentication, and so many other things you can find. You can relate it to diagnostic and endpoint, user, guest, and so many other things. Each and everything you can make a report, you can schedule them, and you can export them, and you can create your customized report as well. And these report is nothing but accounting, just like when you get your credit card statement. So if we go back, so authentication means who are you, you need to provide your detail. Authorization, how much you can spend, so it means authorization, what you can do in the network or in the device. And accounting means whatever you done, there is a record for each and everything. When you start to log into the device and when you log off from the network, each and everything between these two things will be there. Whatever you done in the network, either in the device. Okay, so this is called accounting. So these three were the terminology AAA.